Hello friends, welcome to the lecture on infiltration. What is infiltration? Infiltration is the flow of water into the ground through the soil surface. The distribution of soil moisture within the soil profile during the infiltration process is illustrated in the following figure. So let us see the figure. In figure, you can see there are four different zones which are in a vertical depth. They are dividing the soil mass like saturation zone, transition zone, transmission zone, and wetting zone. On x-axis, you can see there is a moisture content. When water is applied at the surface of a soil, four moisture zones in the soil as indicated in figure can be identified. Zone 1, at the top, a thin layer of saturated zone is created. Zone 2, beneath zone 1, there is transition zone. Zone 3, the next lower zone is the transmission zone where the downward movement of moisture takes place. The moisture content in this zone is above field capacity but below the saturation. Further, it is characterized by unsaturated flow and fairly uniform moisture content. Zone 4, the last zone is the wetting zone. The soil moisture in this zone will be at or near field capacity and the moisture content decreases with the depth. The boundary of wetting zone is the wetting front where a sharp discontinuity exists between the newly wet soil and original moisture content of the soil. Depending upon the amount of infiltration and physical properties of the soil, the wetting front can extend from a few centimeters up to few meters. So these are the four zones with respect to the moisture content. Now to illustrate the infiltration, here is an analogy. In analogy, you can see a container, it is shown, which is getting an input of water. When the container is filled, some part of water it is getting spilled. There is a wire gauge. So let us understand the analogy of infiltration. The infiltration process can be easily understood through a simple analogy. Consider a small container covered with wire gauge as shown in the figure. If water is poured into the container, a part of it will go into the container and a part overflows. Further, the container can hold only a fixed quantity, and when it is full, no more flow into the container can take place. While this analogy is highly simplified, it underscores two important aspects, which first is the maximum rate at which the ground can absorb the water, the infiltration capacity, and second is the volume of water that the ground can hold, the field capacity. Since the infiltered water may contribute to the groundwater discharge in addition to increasing the soil moisture, the process can be schematically modeled as in following figures A and B, wherein two situations with low intensity rainfall and high intensity rainfall are considered. So let us see the figures. So here are two figures showing an infiltration model. In first case, in figure A, you can see there is low intensity rainfall, and in figure B, there is a high intensity rainfall. If there is a low intensity rainfall, the amount of water or rainfall which is coming to the container, a part of it is infiltrated, and further, in case of high intensity rainfall, you can see a part of water it is being percolated to the groundwater, and for low intensity rainfall there is no contribution to the groundwater flow, and in case of high intensity rainfall, even after the surface runoff, infiltration, percolation, it contributes to the groundwater flow. This is what the soil moisture storage capacity. In both the cases, it is different. In case of low intensity rainfall, though the capacity it is different, it is more, but you are not acquiring that much capacity. But in case of high intensity rainfall, the entire soil it is getting moisted. So to find out the infiltration capacity, let us see the maximum rate at which a given soil at a given time can absorb the water is defined as infiltration capacity. I will repeat it. The maximum rate at which a given soil at a given time can absorb water is defined as infiltration capacity. It is designated as F suffix P and is expressed in units of centimeter per hour. The actual rate of infiltration F can be expressed as F is equal to F suffix P when I is greater than or equal to F suffix P, and F is equal to I when I is less than F suffix P, where I is the intensity of rainfall. Means what? If intensity of rainfall it is more than Fp, then F is equal to Fp. What is F? F is the infiltration capacity. And if I is less than Fp, then F is equal to I, or F is equal to I is equal to F. Total intensity of rainfall will convert into the total infiltration. Therefore, the infiltration capacity of a soil is high at the beginning of any storm and has an exponential decay as the time elapses. Why it happens? Because initially there are plenty of voids, interconnected voids, which allows the water to percolate through the soil mass. But as and when the soil mass enriches with the water, it doesn't allow further movement of water, and thereby infiltration capacity decreases with time. So here you can see for different kind of soils, the infiltration capacity rate it is shown in mm per hour. So in case of dry sandy soil, the infiltration capacity it is more at the earlier stage. As and when the storm occurs, the infiltration capacity goes on decreasing. For a dry clay loam, it is less than the sandy soil. For wet sandy loam, the curve is shown like this. And the least capacity it is for the wet clay loam, since it is not having much more pores, much more voids into it. So initially also its infiltration capacity will be less than that of the sandy soil. And further, with respect to the start of infiltration after the rainfall, the capacity, infiltration capacity will go on decreasing and will attain a constant rate further. The typical variation of infiltration capacity Fp of a soil with time, it is shown in the figure. The infiltration capacity of an area is dependent on large number of factors. Chief of them are, there are four factors: characteristics of the soil like texture, porosity and hydraulic conductivity, condition of the soil surface, current moisture content, vegetation cover and soil moisture. So each and every aspect of this it is important in governing the infiltration capacity. If porosity it is more, hydraulic conductivity is more, then infiltration capacity will be more. Condition of the soil surface, if it is covered by vegetation, then it will not allow direct entry of water. The water will keep stagnant and thereby it will further facilitate the entry of moisture into the soil. So there will be a time lapse. Then current moisture content, if your soil is already saturated with water, even if it is sandy soil or clay soil, any type of soil, it will not allow further movement of water. It will not absorb further any kind of water. So thereby the infiltration capacity will be reduced. Then vegetation cover, if it is covered by vegetation, then infiltration capacity will be more, but the time required will also be more. Soil temperature, if soil it is having a high temperature, it will absorb certainly more amount of water. since it is completely dry, having no moisture content into it. Whereas if the temperature is low, the soil is humid, then it will absorb less quantity of water. Then how to measure the infiltration? Measurement of infiltration. Infiltration characteristics of a soil at a given location can be estimated by using either a flooding type of infiltrometers, measurement of subsidence of free water in a large basin or pond. Next is a rainfall simulator, and last one is the hydrograph analysis. So already we have discussed the flooding type of infiltrometer. Flooding type infiltrometers are experimental devices used to obtain data relating variation of infiltration capacity with respect to time. There are two kinds of infiltrometers commonly in used. They are tube type or simple infiltrometer, and second is the double ring infiltrometer. So this is the schematic diagram of the flooding type of infiltrometers. So here in first figure, that is figure a simple tube type infiltrometer it is shown, which is having a total depth of 60 centimeter, of which the 50 centimeter infiltrometer it is driven into the soil mass, and 10 centimeter it is kept above the ground level, which is having a 30 centimeter diameter, and the infiltrometer it is completely metallic. The water is it is poured in such a fashion that there will be a surface of water at least up to 5 centimeter above the ground level. In second case also there is a double ring infiltrometer, which is having two containers, two cylindrical containers. Inner container it is having a diameter of 30 centimeter, and outer container it is having a diameter of 60 centimeter. Initially the outer container it is filled in such a way that it will retain a level of water up to a 5 centimeter above than the ground level, and the total depth of this particular double ring infiltrometer it varies up to 20 to 25 centimeters. So what is the advantages of this double ring infiltrometer over the single ring? uh, as you can see, in single ring infiltrometer the water it is percolated in diverted fashion. It is being diverted, and in case of this double ring infiltrometer we are taking the reading with respect to the inner cylinder only, which allows the movement of water strictly downward, vertical movement. The water it is not being scattered in any way. So that is the advantage over here, because infiltration we require only the vertical perpendicular movement of water, exactly vertical movement of water. So for illustration, I have taken these pictures from internet. This is the single ring infiltrometer, and this is what the double ring infiltrometer, as you can see. First, we will discuss about the simple single ring tube type infiltrometer. This is a simple instrument consisting essentially of a metal cylinder 30 centimeter diameter and 60 centimeter long, open at both the ends. The cylinder is driven into the ground up to a depth of 50 centimeter. Water is poured into the top part to a depth of 5 centimeter, and a pointer is set to mark the water level. As infiltration proceeds, the volume is made up by adding water from a burette to keep the water level at the tip of the pointer. Knowing the volume of water added during the different time intervals, the plot of the infiltration capacity versus time it is obtained. The experiments are continued till a uniform rate of infiltration is obtained, and this may take 2 to 3 hours. The surface of the soil is usually protected by a perforated disc to prevent formation of turbidity and its settling on the soil surface. A major objection to the simple infiltrometer as above is that the infiltered water spreads at the outlet from the tube, as shown by dotted lines in the figure, and as such the tube area is not representative of the area in which infiltration is actually taking place. So that is what the major disadvantage of this particular simple tube type infiltrometer. So this disadvantage it is overcome by the double ring infiltrometer. So what is the double ring infiltrometer? This most commonly used infiltrometer is designed to overcome the basic objection of tube infiltrometer which the tube area is not representative of the infiltrating area. In this, two sets of concentrating rings with diameters of 30 cm and 60 cm and of a minimum length of 25 cm as shown in figure above are used. The two rings are inserted into the ground and water is applied into both the rings to maintain a constant depth of about 5 cm. The outer ring provides water jacket to the infiltrating water from the inner ring and hence prevents the spreading out of the infiltrating water of the inner ring. The water depths in the inner and outer rings are kept at the same level during the observation period. The measurement of the water volume is done on the inner ring only. The experiment is carried out till a constant infiltration rate is obtained. A perforated disc to prevent formation of turbidity and settling of fines on the soil surface is provided on the surface of the soil in the inner ring as well as in the annular space. As flooding type infiltrometer measures the infiltration characteristics at spot only, a large number of pre-planned experiments are necessary to obtain representative infiltration characteristics for an entire watershed. Some of the chief disadvantages of flooding type infiltrometers are the raindrop impact effect is not simulated in case of these infiltrometers. The driving of the tube or rings disturbs the soil structure and the results of the infiltrometers depend to some extent on their size. With larger meters gives less rates than smaller ones. This is due to the border effect. Now, second thing with the help of which we can measure the infiltration is the rainfall simulator. In this, a small plot of land of about 2 meter by 4 meter size is provided with a series of nozzles on the longer side with arrangements to collect and measure the surface runoff rate. The specially designed nozzles produce raindrops falling from a height of 2 meter and are capable of producing various intensities of rainfall. Experiments are conducted under controlled conditions with various combinations of intensities and durations, and the surface runoff rates and volumes are measured in each case. Using the water budget equation involving the volume of rainfall, infiltration, and runoff, the infiltration rate and its variation with time are estimated. If the rainfall intensity is higher than the infiltration rate, infiltration capacity values are obtained. Rainfall simulator type infiltrometers give lower values than flooding type infiltrometers. This is due to effect of rainfall impact and turbidity of surface water present in the former. So for understanding, I have downloaded some figures from internet. These are the rainfall simulators which are being useful to find out the infiltration. So here in this case, infiltration rates will be somewhat lesser than that of the flooding type of infiltrometer, because here due to rainfall simulation there will be turbidity involved in infiltration, which will obstruct the infiltration and thereby reduces the rate of infiltration. Then the hydrograph analysis. A reasonable estimation of the infiltration capacity of a small watershed can be obtained by analyzing measured runoff hydrographs and corresponding rainfall records. If sufficiently good rainfall records and runoff hydrographs corresponding to isolated storms in a small watershed with fairly homogeneous soils are available, the water budget equation can be applied to estimate the abstraction by infiltration. In this, the evapotranspiration losses are estimated by knowing the land cover oblique land use of the watershed. Then modeling of infiltration capacity. This is the curves of infiltration capacity and cumulative infiltration capacity. On x-axis you can see the time. On y-axis you will see there is infiltration capacity FP, and next is the cumulative infiltration capacity, capital F suffix P into T. So this figure shows a typical variation of infiltration capacity Fp with respect to time. With respect to time, the figure shows a typical variation of infiltration capacity with respect to time. Cumulative infiltration capacity Fp into T. This is the cumulative infiltration capacity Fp into T is defined as the accumulation of infiltration volume over a time period since the start of the process and is given by Fp is equal to integration of small fp into T into dt from 0 to T. Thus, the curve capital F suffix P into T versus time in given figure is mass curve of the infiltration. This is what the mass curve of infiltration. It may be noted that from earlier equation it follows that Fp into T is equal to d by dt of capital F suffix P into T. It is derivative. Many equations have been proposed to express the curves Fp into T or capital F suffix P into T for use in hydrological analysis. In this section, 4 such equations will be described. So let us see the 4 equations. First one is the Horton's equation. In 1993, Horton has developed this equation. Horton expressed the decay of infiltration capacity with time as an exponential decay given by Fp is equal to Fc plus into bracket F0 minus Fc bracket complete e raised to minus k h into T for O is greater than equal to T and T is less than equal to Tc, where small f suffix P is equal to infiltration capacity at any time T from the start of the rainfall Fp, which we are interested to estimate. It is the infiltration capacity at any time, any given time T from the start of the rainfall. F0 is equal to initial infiltration capacity at time T is equal to 0. Fc is equal to final steady state infiltration capacity occurring at T is equal to Tc. Also, Fc is sometimes known as constant rate or ultimate infiltration capacity. It is a steady infiltration capacity beyond which it will attain a constant value. Kh is equal to Horton's decay coefficient, which depends upon soil characteristics and the vegetation cover. So by Horton's equation, you can estimate the infiltration capacity is equal to Fc plus into bracket F0 minus Fc into e raised to minus kh into T, where T is the time, F0 is the initial infiltration capacity, Fc is the final steady state infiltration capacity. By putting these values, you can find out the infiltration capacity by the popularly known Horton's equation. Estimation of parameters of infiltration models. Data from infiltrometer experiments can be processed to generate data sets Fp and capital Fp values for various time t values. The following procedures are convenient to evaluate parameters of infiltration models. So for Horton's models, value of Fc in a test is obtained from inspection of the delta. Equation stated above is rearranged to read as into bracket Fp minus Fc is equal to into bracket F0 minus Fc e raised to minus kh into T, taking logarithm ln of Fp minus Fc is equal to ln of F0 minus Fc minus kh into T. Plot ln Fp minus Fc against T and fit the best straight line through the plotted points. The intercept gives ln F0 minus Fc and the slope of the straight line is kh. So with the help of this particular equation, by Horton's equation, you can find out the infiltration capacity. The rest of the 3 equations are not discussed here. They are not quite important from point of view of examination. So Horton's equation is many a times will be asked in examination. You go through these standard reference books to find out other equations too. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me on my email address dnpaitankar@sanjeevani.org.in. Thank you for listening. Happy learning.